The province of New Brunswick taking drastic action in its ongoing fight against the pandemic. As of midnight, so now we're 6.5 hours into this, the entire province rolled back we're 7.5 hours into this. Of course, it's an hour ahead. Rolled back under more severe restrictions. The whole province now orange level. A day after, the province recorded a record increase in new cases. And Brett Ruskin is on the story. I forgot about Atlantic time. So you're 7.5 hours into this, Brett. My apologies. Brett's in Halifax watching the New Brunswick and the Atlantic story for us. But beginning with New Brunswick, tell us about the numbers and the response now from the provincial government, Brett.
Well, yeah, Heather, the time zones here is different as well as the context of these numbers. So let's talk about that briefly, because other provinces see hundreds of daily case counts, thousands of daily case counts. That's when folks get concerned. Out here, if we see double digits in our daily case counts, that's when we start getting upset and we start getting anxious a little bit. And so that is the context that we're looking at these new numbers. This new spike, this highest daily case count, record high 27 cases reported yesterday in New Brunswick. That is up from the previous high of 23 daily cases. And these cases are spread all throughout the province, which is forcing and causing Premier Blaine Higgs to enact and increase the level of restriction to that orange level. Here is Blaine Higgs speaking yesterday at a news conference.
Given our current path, we could see hundreds of new active cases daily in our province. To say this would be devastating is an understatement. If you don't care about yourself, please care about others. We have done so well to date. Vaccines are on our radar. They are coming to our province. We've already vaccinated people. Let's not lose sight or lose hope at this point. We are indeed talking life and death.
And so some strong words there from New Brunswick Premier Blaine Higgs yesterday, talking about a life and death situation and the decisions being made around restrictions increasing to that orange level. So what does that mean? Well, in New Brunswick, the yellow level of restriction means that you can have gatherings of 20 people inside, 50 people outside. Now we are down to just gatherings in your home with only your household, only the people that you live with, and then outside, outdoor gatherings of 25 people with physical distancing. There are businesses that can still operate under restrictions, so not quite, a full-on lockdown where only essential services are available, but certainly some changes to businesses in terms of capacity, in terms of distancing required at places like gyms and things like that. But it is definitely a ramping up that we're seeing in New Brunswick to this orange level, not just in specific regions, but province-wide. Heather.
What about the other provinces in Atlantic Canada? If you could give us a picture of them, Brett, the decisions that they're making and what's happening there as they also respond to changing numbers.
Sure. Well, let's sweep across the map. Here in Nova Scotia, 3 daily cases that were announced yesterday, 1 on Prince Edward Island and 1 more in Newfoundland and Labrador. That's the daily case count as of yesterday that was announced yesterday. And so case counts are certainly low, certainly lower than we saw in the kind of second wave spike that we saw around the mid-November timeframe. But, the talk that, we were talking here, Heather, earlier this week about the possibility of reopening the Atlantic bubble to allow that unrestricted movement, unrestricted travel between Atlantic provinces that we saw earlier in the year, and whether or not discussions could begin to reopen the Atlantic bubble because case counts were so low. How quickly things change with only a couple of days. With the high case counts that we're seeing in New Brunswick, it makes it unlikely that we're going to see the Atlantic bubble open, at least until they get those case counts back down, back under control, because elsewhere in the Atlantic provinces, we're doing okay, at least as we talk about it today. Heather.
Okay, Brett, thank you very much. Live in Halifax, our Brett Ruskin.